Good morning, guys. Good morning. I decided to do a podcast early in the morning. Like, I've never done this before, so I literally just woke up a couple seconds ago. I got my laundry hung up back here for you guys who are watching. I did my laundry for the first time in 3 years because I've been traveling so much, and always, like, whether at work or whether if I'm staying at a hotel, most of the time people have most of the time there's wash available. But anyway, the first time in 3 years, Mom, if you're listening to this, Mom, I hope I made you proud. April 3. It's April 3. I'm stuck in Korea still. I've got my whiteboard up there. I just wrote down all my goals for today, and I'm going to get the day started. What I was thinking about yesterday was, actually yesterday I didn't do a podcast, which was probably not the best thing because that means I fell behind on my routine. But things are not always perfect. I mean, right now we're going through such an interesting time. I'm slightly confused in direction of where we're going to go with the company, because right now it's hard. It's hard. Like, the world right now is hurting, and it's not all butterflies and rainbows. It's not. And even though most of the time with my positivity, I'm always like, it's going to be great, it's going to be good, it's going to be huge, it's going to be fantastic. Sometimes it's not so great. But I just wanted to tell that because yesterday was a pretty hard day. And for those of you guys who are watching, like, Dan probably never has hard days because he never shows it. I want to talk about it. I want to talk about what I do in the hard days. You know, what do I do in the days where you feel that there is really nothing that could go better than all the things that happen, right? Like, everything is worse. Or you wake up and you're not feeling that good. You wake up and there's a bit of bad news. Or you wake up and there's this and this and this. And I often get asked a lot, like, what do I do? Right? And I haven't had one of those days in a long time, but yesterday was one of the days where there was a lot of news, there was a lot of issues, things that I had to deal with in the company, in our organization. But not only that, but just mentally. Like, I woke up feeling like I needed to move, right? Like, I wanted to move. I was getting anxious. And so obviously I didn't move yesterday because I'm still in the Airbnb that I'm staying at. I'm in the basement right now. It's super dark in here. For those of you guys who are looking, like, if you look back there, it's super, like, the lights can turn on, but it's kind of dark. There's not many windows in here. And for me, I love to get woken up by the sun. And so over the last few days, I haven't been able to do that because the room that I'm staying in, like the upstairs of this place, it doesn't really have any windows. Like, the only window is the window in the door. And so it's for me, it's a battle against the things that I really don't like. Like, the things that I enjoy are not happening. Right? I enjoy being around people. I haven't been around people for like 3 days. For me, that's something that's super strange. Super strange. For me going from a situation where I was around people for 16 hours of the day, 15 hours of the day, to like being around nobody and being in an area that, like, I do go out. I've got my mask here. I'm wearing a mask. I also have this mask, which is my Nike mask. But for me to go from a situation where I was getting a lot of energy from the people that I was around to, like, really not seeing anybody, it's a little strange. And it's really hard on me because I get a lot of my energy and a lot of my, I wouldn't say my hype, but more of my energy, I get a lot from people. And so for me to not be around people, and that comes through, like, the give and the receive. Meaning, like, if I inspire somebody, or if I'm talking about some idea or talking about a goal and being super excited about that, right? To have that connection with someone and be like, okay, how are we going to solve this task? I love solving problems. This is something that I love to do. But if I also love solving problems with other people. And when I'm not around other people, it's super hard. It's super hard. It's like, I want to solve this problem with you. Let's draw on a whiteboard how we solve this problem. I'm like a mathematician for life problems. I could be a psychologist, maybe. No, I don't know. I don't know, maybe. But I just love it, right? Because I love helping people. Like, if you give me a problem, like, hey, give me any problem. Any problem. I'll do my best to solve it. I probably won't come out with the greatest answer, but I'll do my best to solve it from the experiences that I have and through the observations that I've made from other people. For those of you guys who don't know, I grew up having a really hard time in school. I was not able to comprehend on the same level as most kids. But for what I didn't have, I had in being able to really understand how people work and really understand how someone interacts with the world. And also really understanding and seeing through people, right? I could see someone and be like, oh my goodness, that person needs somebody to be with them right now. Or that person is struggling with this. Or I just have this weird sense of, okay, my intuition tells me this is what I need to do. Or this is what I don't need to do. Or definitely don't go down there. Or maybe go down there. You know what I mean? So for me to not have that, so that in the absence of the thing that gives me energy, it's hard. And I have calls and I'm doing calls all day and I love those calls, but those are different. Like to be on a call with like a conference call or something like that versus in a boardroom or in like in an office or in a cafe and you're working on a specific problem or talking about specific dreams and then actually implementing that, it's hard. So yesterday was a tough day. Yesterday was a tough day because I had to deal with a lot of like mental challenges, like a lot of mental things in my mind, uncertainties, right? Because we don't know what the situation is how it's gonna unfold. Like I take one quick second and look at the news and it's like everything is just dying. Like every government is struggling, everything is blowing up, everything is hurting. And so like, I'm like, when is this going to end? When is it going to go back to normal? I just want this to go back to normal. And then a funny thing, I don't read a lot. A funny thing happened like towards the end of the day. I don't read a lot, but I listen. Like that's how I read. So if I say I read this book, it's not because I actually read a book. It's because I listened to the book. I had this book for quite a while just sitting on my shelf in my Apple bookstore on my iPhone. So on my shelf in my iPhone. It's like the books. That's how I virtually keep my books. And the book is called Anti-Fragile. And I've just got started into it. So I can't really explain what it's about. But I definitely think you should read it if you got some time and if you can comprehend these things. It talks about like what is the opposite of something that's fragile. Most people would say, well, the opposite of something that's fragile is something like tough, that's hard, right? But it's not a polar opposite. So you have negative and positive. Those are polar opposites. You have good and bad. The concept that this author is talking about is anti-fragility. So the thing that benefits from being anti-fragile. So the thing that benefits from being broken. And so, for instance, if you think about us or you think about our muscles, right? It benefits to actually be broken. Right? Like being anti-fragile is not fragile. It's something that actually grows from being broken, torn, tossed around, misused, everything like that, right? So we, in a sense, benefit from that. And the thing that the book is talking about, and it's going into it, but it's talking about like how randomness, okay, the world, the things around us that we cannot comprehend. Like we know that, okay, if we take a specific action, we have been given free will to do the things that we want to do, but we cannot determine what someone else does, right? And so he talks, long story short, he's talking about how we need to be anti-fragile. We need to train our minds to actually enjoy and embrace the hard times. Enjoy and embrace the hard times because obviously, if you can embrace it, you will last, right? Like if you can lift something super heavy, right? You're going to break your muscles. But you're going to be better off after it because you're going to be stronger. It's the same thing with a tough time. The harder the time you go through with a partner or someone in your relationship, the closer you guys are going to be together. Because if you experience that together and you get through that, you're not even going to be able to experience that with someone else. So embrace this time. That's the thing that I was thinking about last night, which was embrace this time. I should embrace this time, the time of struggle, the time of strife, literally the time where I feel a huge wave of depression coming over me. Like I'm not sleeping well. I'm falling asleep at like 4, 5, 6 in the morning. I'm getting up 3 or 4 hours later. I'm feeling super tired. My direction is not there, but I still have all these dreams and these aspirations. And so I'm going to work on over the next few days is like how to embrace it, how to embrace this time. Like how can I best just like take on every bad thing that could possibly happen and use it to make me stronger and use it to like benefit myself and use it with an understanding and go through a situation and be like, yo, we coming out of this way stronger. Like we coming like this is beautiful. This is beautiful. This time is beautiful. You know, I talked about this in like a few episodes ago. Like if you study history or you take a step back and you think about the stories that, or the people that have gone before and the stories that they tell, it puts it in perspective. And I did that yesterday because I know that's a tool that really can help me. So that pulled me out of a lot of anxiety, which was, I heard about the Spanish flu, right? The Spanish flu was pretty bad. And I watched a little documentary, not too long, like 20 minutes. And the Spanish flu, let me tell you this. Right now, the coronavirus has killed, I think, like 40,000 people. The Spanish flu killed 50 million people. They're saying the stats show at least 50 million, possibly even up towards 100 million people in the first 3 months. Can you imagine that? Death number from that was just crazy. Nothing matters, you know? Nothing, none of your worries matter. You're literally just in survival. It's like you had a job before, you had a company, you were running a business, you had a brand. What does that mean? Nothing. It means nothing when there is like a threat of death, like a death threat, imminent death threat right at your door. Right at your door. And so I use that and I put it into perspective a little bit. But like, Dan, you know what? Don't worry. Don't worry about what you're worrying about. I just want to sit down here first thing in the morning to tell you guys that I struggle with these things too. And it's a reality. And we just got to wait it out. And sometimes that sucks. And sometimes that's hard. But we can do it. All right? Thank you guys for listening to my mini rant this morning. Not my mini rant. It's like a little diary. It's my journal. Thank you for listening to my little journal. I hope you enjoyed it. What are you guys doing? It's April 3. January, February, March, April. Holy moly. We are 4 months into the year. 4 months. It's funny. I said this before. Like everybody was saying like 2020 is they're going to be their year. It's definitely going to be my year. All right. So make 2020 your year still. You're 4 months in. It's never too late to start something. I just started doing handstand push-ups. I'm trying to do handstand push-ups. It's pretty hard. I'm trying to do some calisthenic stuff. That's really hard, but I'm working on it. You know, I'm starting in something new. I keep boxing. For those of you guys who are watching on the video, what's up? I hung up a beanbag because I was punching it, right? I was staying active. And then I used it for my clothesline right here. It's crazy. You don't need to dry it. You just need time. You need time. That's it. All right, guys. Thank you for listening to this. And Dan, if you're listening to this in the future, what's going on then? Actually, you know one thing that the book was talking about too? Like people plan based off the worst possible. People plan. People make plans. And we make plans all the time. Like for the worst case scenario, right? But what is the worst case scenario? If you base the worst case scenario on the worst case scenario before, but what about before that? It's only the worst case scenario because it was worse than time before. So when you plan, when you are working towards something, do it 10 times the thing that you think that you need to do. All right? I see this all the time. Like if you want to start a brand or you want to start something, it's probably going to take 10 times more effort than you actually think it will. It's probably going to take 10 times more effort, 10 times more money, 10 times more persistent, 10 times more calls, 10 times more messages, 10 times more. It's going to take a lot. So make sure you do it a lot more than what you think and be safe. All right? Stay safe. Plan for the worst. Hope for the best. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.